Hello everybody! It is the second day of 2021 and I am tackling this whole beautiful area which is requiring some much needed love. Now my face looks like a ghost because I just put loads of SPF on. So this is actually supposed to be like a brightening SPF, which is why it's got like the yellow tone. But when you wear it by itself it looks ridiculous. So I'm going to put a base on anyway, I'm going to put some makeup on. My main things today are to tackle my foundation and powder collection and do a declutter, which is what this video is about. So let me just give you an overview of this area. So this is my Muji storage. I've had this for years and years and years. I will eventually get around to decluttering most of the stuff. I've realised I really need to declutter my highlighters. This whole unit needs a good clean as well. But this is what we're working with today. So by the way, this gorgeous dressing table, look, I found this online and someone was selling this set along with the drawers and the wardrobe, and we got it for an amazing price. So I definitely would recommend checking out furniture secondhand because honestly it's just great. This one is only really supposed to have my powders in. I do have enough space here for concealers, but what do you know, there's more concealers in here. It's just like, I did do a declutter a while back, but it's got to a point where I just need to again be honest with myself and be like, I need to get rid of stuff. Now I have done a whole foundation collection video in the past and I'll leave that link below because in that one I just sort of talk through every single foundation and there's some in there that I don't have anymore, so definitely check that out. This one is going to be a bit more in depth and it's going to be me talking to the camera, so I am going to set up my big camera in a minute with my table and just take this drawer out and have two views. Okay, so on the big camera and I've got my little vlog camera here. Now let me just show you this drawer in its full glory. So it actually will not shut. So what I've done is I've gone around and I've collected stuff from the two makeup bags. So I've got one that I used to travel with and then one that I used for sort of day to day. And I just put as much stuff that I can fit as possible in here. And there's still things here. So I'm going to take this, put this over here in front of me, and here I've got my disinfectant, got some paper towels, and I'm going to clean. And then I've also emptied my big white bin, so I will be just throwing stuff away that needs to be chucked because I know there's going to be quite a bit of stuff. And then we'll get onto the concealer drawer as well. Okay, so here is my big drawer. Honestly, you guys, first of all, absolutely I'm obsessed with my dressing table. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's literally everything I ever wanted for so many years, and Wakara's just the best at finding like great things like that. Now I'm just gonna pour my bin to the side and keep it open. We're gonna go through this. I think we'll start with foundations. I'm just gonna take them out first, line them up and see how many we can count, shall we? So I've laid everything out. Now I've got two primer type products that are both from Charlotte Tilbury. So the first one is the Wonder Glow, which is the first product I've got, and I have had both of these for quite a while, especially the Wonder Glow. What I said in my last foundation declutter was that I really wanted to try and use this up because I actually have the flawless filter as well, and if I had to pick between both of them I would go for this one because I just think that the formula of this one is actually slightly better. Although this does leave your skin looking gorgeous, I actually find this works as a better primer and it prolongs my makeup wear as well. I'm not going to be getting rid of either because I feel like they still work really well. However, I have had this for quite a while, so what I'm going to do is actually move this to the front of my collection, move this into like my current daily day-to-day makeup bag and try and get this used up. This is gorgeous by itself, just the moisturiser on top, especially if you don't have like a lot of scarring or acne going on. It's also beautiful to mix in with your foundation, especially ones that are a bit more matte. It is a beautiful product, but it does come with a hefty price tag. Love these both. They're both staying. I just need to give this a bit of a clean, but these are on the stay and they're kind of more primers, so it doesn't really count. Now if we count the foundations, I have 20 foundations here that are open and then I have 3 that are unopened. But then if we break that down a little bit more, there is one tinted moisturiser in here, one velvet matte skin tint in here, and 4 of these cream pot foundations. So we're just gonna go through them. To be honest, I'm not that disappointed. I thought there'd be more, and also I'm quite happy to say that I'm quite familiar with all of these products. Like, I do really use them and rotate them, and the couple that I don't, I'm going to be getting rid of, and I'll explain why in this video. So the first foundation that we have got here is my gorgeous Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation. Actually, you know what, guys? I just realised I have the Fenty matte one as well, so that's 21 foundations, and I'm not 100% sure where that is, which is worrying me a little bit. But yeah, I had 21 foundations. So the first one that we're going to talk about, like I said, is the Fenty Hydrating Foundation. I've got this in the shade 290, and I have used this before in IGTVs. I've used this on my channel before. I love this so much, and you can tell I love it because of how much it's actually been used. It's like the bottle is being squeezed right down. By the way, great packaging because it means that there's none stuck and you can literally squeeze it right to the bottom. And it has a pump as well, which is great, so less mess. Definitely will be repurchasing this. It's one of those foundations that just makes my skin look so good. It definitely is a medium coverage, it's not a high coverage, but I just really enjoy this pretty much throughout the year, to be honest. Although 290 is more of a summer shade for me, so when I wear this like at this time, it does look a little bit, just a tiny tad bit too warm, but I don't mind that because, I mean, the weather that we're having right now, sometimes I like to pretend that it's summer, just as like, you know, from my face, I like to pretend it's summer. So this is a definite repurchase. Need to clean and repurchase that. Now the next foundation here we have is one that I've had for ages, you guys. I've had this for so long. This is the Charlotte Tilbury, again, her Light Wonder Youth Boosting Perfecting Skin Foundation, and it's got SPF 15 in it. I got this in the shade 7 medium, and I always felt like it was a little bit too dark for me. I will just put a bit on the back of my hand to show you guys. You do get a generous 40ml in here, but I definitely feel like I've had this for too long, and I'm kind of holding on to it because, oh yeah, it's Charlotte Tilbury, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of a bit like, I don't want to waste it because it's Charlotte, but at the same time, if you're not wearing it, Iqra, like, what is actually the point? Even on the back of my hand, which is more tan than my face, you can see that that's very dark on me. So I think I'm going to make the sensible decision to actually get rid of this because, first of all, let me stop that running down my hand and ruining my lovely new oversized top. So what I will say about this is it is a very lovely sort of tinted moisturising product, but you do have to have near to perfect skin for it to work for you, in my opinion. And back in the day, you know, when my only skin concern was my dark circles, this was great. But these days, I just would not repurchase this because I know that I'd have to end up putting layers and layers on, and it does get a bit tacky when you've overlaid it. And who really has the time for that, to be honest with you? That's like where I'm sort of sitting with it. So it's time to let this go. It's been a long time since it's been in my collection, and I will not be repurchasing this. But thanks, Light Wonder, you've been good. Right, the next foundation is another high-end luxury one. This is the Dior Airflash foundation, and I have this in the shade 301. Now, I remember I purchased this one day when I went to Birmingham to meet up with my beautiful friend Hoodoo. They had like a massive Selfridges there, and they've got a Space NKs on. I was so super excited. And a sales assistant on that day, he actually tried this on me, and I was blown away. Like, he actually put it on top of the makeup I already had, and it does really give you an airbrush finish. So it's literally in a can. You have to shake it. It's got the little ball thing in there. And then it's a spray foundation, so you can pretty much spray it all over your face, or you can spray it onto a brush and buff it into your skin. The way I found myself using this is on top of my regular foundation. So I'll just put on a normal or a lighter coverage foundation. Then I will put this on top, and it kind of just seals your makeup and makes it look super airbrush and flawless. By itself, again, because I have got more acne prone skin that's got like dark marks and discoloration, hyperpigmentation, I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's like looking for like one amazing foundation. I just think this is actually more of a foundation topper, and it is really lovely, and I have had this for a while as well, but I'm going to keep a hold of it because it still works well. You get 70 mils in here, which is a very decent amount, because obviously it's spray, so you do have to probably use a bit more than normal, and I will say it's a little bit of a pain to store away. But now I'm using this drawer, it's fine. But before, when I had like my foundations all together, it was a bit irritating. But yeah, this is definitely one that I'm going to be keeping. And would I repurchase it? Yeah, I think I would, because I feel like it does last a really long amount of time, which is great. So you feel like you are getting your value for your money there. and it is gorgeous for like a really special occasion, a date night, when you want your makeup to look absolutely stunning. But the one sort of drawback I would say is that I feel like you do need to have a lot more time when you're wearing this. It's not, for me anyway, it's not one where I can just spray it and, you know, leave it and go. So I would repurchase it, but yeah, it's a nice foundation, and the shade's pretty good too as well. Now the next one we've got here is a Makeup Forever Ultra HD. I've actually filmed a whole video about this recently, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Used to love it, don't love it so much anymore. I've explained why in that video. I'm going to use this up, so I'm not going to get rid of it because I feel like it would be a big waste to just chuck this in a bin, but I will not be repurchasing this. Then I have another Dior foundation. I used to love Dior foundations, guys. I had the Nude, the Forever, the Star. Like, I really do like their foundations. The shade matches for myself, and I think people with like an olive skin tone are pretty good. And the formulations are gorgeous, so I definitely do recommend Dior foundations. I haven't repurchased any of those three I just mentioned, but if I would repurchase one in the future, it would be the Dior Star, because that was gorgeous. But I do want to try the Dior Forever Glow as well. Anyway, this is the Dior Face and Body, and I did a whole long review about this on my channel already. Absolutely love this. This is definitely very similar to the MAC Face and Body, which I used to love before I stopped buying from MAC. But I would say this has got a slight bit more coverage, and I just adore it. You do have to build this up as well if you've got acne prone skin, or if you're not like heavily concealing beforehand. But the finish it gives your skin is gorgeous. Absolutely love this. I would 100% repurchase, but I got the shade 3W0, and this is definitely more of a summer shade for me. So I think the next time I get this, I'll probably go for 3W or possibly 3. I'd really ideally want to try it out in store or get a sample to see which shade matches me best, because this is definitely a bit more on the deep side. But yeah, I really love this. And what I'm going to try my hardest to do, guys, is down below, as I've linked all of these products, I'm going to try my hardest to post a video where I know I'm wearing that foundation, so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like as well. Obviously on camera sometimes things can look a bit different. We have to use lighting because, you know, it gets really dark here, and we want you guys to see our faces properly here on YouTube, so sometimes the foundation can look a little bit different, but for the most part it's a pretty accurate description and accurate viewpoint. So as far as possible, as far as I've actually written it down, or if I can remember, I will link down below videos on which I'm wearing these specific foundations. I know for a fact I don't have a video where I'm wearing this, but I will probably, if you guys want me to, I will do a video showing how I use this in the future on a Thursday, because I know this video is going up on a Sunday, but this is more like a vlog type video. But yeah, Thursdays are typically my more beauty and makeup related video days. Let me take a breath. Carry on with high end. So this I actually haven't opened, although you be forgiven for thinking I had, because the packaging is pretty messy. But this is my backup of the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturiser. It's got SPF 30 PA+++, and this I have in the shade St Moritz, which is medium 1. I adore this with my whole being. I remember I took the same tinted moisturiser with me to Pakistan in 2017, and it was just perfect. So it has SPF in it. Your skin looks so glowy and gorgeous and not heavy at all, but the pigmentation on this is definitely better than any other tinted moisturiser I've tried, which is why I really like this. I've not opened it, and I'm not planning to open it until summer 2021, because yeah, I just don't really need to open right now. I've got enough bases to sort of be working my way through. But yeah, really like this, and this is definitely a forever repurchase. I did so well with this formula. And then the sister product to that is the NARS Velvet Matte Skin Tint. Again, this has got SPF 30. This is obviously designed for someone with more of an oily skin type, whereas this is obviously for someone with more of a normal / dry dehydrated skin type. So I got the exact same shade, and I feel like this shade is a tad bit darker from memory than the St Moritz in the original tinted moisturiser line. This is really gorgeous because it gives you a soft matte finish without your face looking flat, and again the coverage is up there. So although it says skin tint, I would argue this is a really nice medium coverage base, and I feel like the longevity of this is really good too. And my skin, I always feel like it looks good with it, provided it's super moisturised and hydrated. If my skin is feeling dehydrated, or if I've used something a bit more drying on it the night before, this might not be the best thing for me to use, but on the whole I really like this. This is my first bottle, but I would repurchase this because I find myself reaching for it quite a bit. especially in the summer months, because obviously this is more of a matte tint, so when I know that it's going to be quite warm and I want my base to stay and just look good, this is a good one to go for. Now I have three actually. 3 foundations from Wet n Wild, which has definitely become like my favourite drugstore brand. In my last foundation video, I shared my favourite foundation of all time from the drugstore, and that was the Nip and Fab one, and I believe they've stopped doing it, which is so annoying. I hate it when brands discontinue like great products. It's just like, why do you have to do that? I really loved your product and then you took it away. But yeah, these two, so they're actually quite different, although they look pretty identical. This one is the Photo Focus foundation in golden beige, and then this one is the dewy version of this one. I've seen a lot of people rave about this, and to be fair, I've not used this enough to give you guys a conclusive review at all, but so far I'm very on the fence about it. I don't like the fact that the coverage is not great. I say it's like a light to medium coverage. It probably is buildable, but it's just not the best, and I think I need to try this with a really good foundation brush to give it a fair shot, so I'm very on the fence about this. Obviously I'm not getting rid of it because I want to keep using it and trying it and then do a proper review for you guys. But this one, my favourite foundation from the drugstore of 2020. I really like this. I first of all find that the shade Golden Beige is a really good match for me, which is great because a lot of the times I feel like cheaper foundations, the shade range is even more all over the place than high-end ones. It is flash proof. It's a medium coverage, you can sort of build it up a little bit. The satin demi matte skin finish is gorgeous because I actually find this is quite glowy by itself. Like, I was surprised, to be honest, that they came out with the dewy version because I actually don't think this is like super matte or anything like that. It's definitely, I feel like it's definitely more on the satin side of things. Like, if we think about a scale, and we've got like dewy, and then we've got skin like, then we've got satin, super matte, and then demi matte, and then matte. You know, like if this is our like little visual scale here, I think this sits more on sort of between the satin to natural kind of foundation finish, and I really like this. I think because it's such a good match, I tend to reach for this quite often, and yeah, I do really enjoy this. So I would repurchase this. I have repurchased this already. This is incredibly affordable. Like, I don't know how they managed to make it so cheap. It's less than £7, I believe, and it's now easily available in the UK. Again, I'll have everything linked down below, so that's a definite repurchase. And then another fairly new one from Wet n Wild is their stick foundation. The only issue I have with this is that the shades are not the same. So this comes in golden honey, it does not come in golden beige, but I've only, again, used this like 2 times, so it's really not a good time to kind of be like, yeah, no, I definitely purchase, so I wouldn't. As far as stick foundations go, it's pretty nice. It is not, you know, too drying or too thick, and it blends out nicely. So yeah, I don't have too much to say about that at the moment. Okay, continuing on with some more cheaper foundations before we go back to the high end. These two, these are the EX1 Cosmetics foundations. I talked about them obviously in my last video because I've had them for such a long time. And such a long time that they actually have the older shades here. This is F200 and this is F300. As you can see, F200 definitely was more of my shade. What I will say is, if you are on a budget, if you're not looking to spend sort of £20 plus on a foundation, you want a nice affordable foundation that's going to be more of a matte finish, that's going to be a good medium to full coverage, and that's not going to break the bank, and that's going to suit your olive medium brown skin tone, definitely check out EX1 Cosmetics. They were made by an Asian woman who was fed up of not seeing her shade in drugstores, so she created an affordable line in the form of EX1 Cosmetics. And yeah, this says it's got true colour pigments that even out skin tone and correct imperfections for perfect coverage that is almost invisible, and it's oil free and non-pore clogging. So I don't think this is a bad foundation by any means, but at the same time I never reach for these, and I think because for me I just find them a little bit thick. I feel like I can actually kind of feel them more on the skin than some other foundations, and I don't love the way my skin looks with them. For me, I definitely prefer, like I said, more of a satin, to natural kind of finish, and this sits more on the matte side of things for me, and sometimes I feel like my face can look a bit flat, and obviously this shade was just too dark and I really wish I had given it to somebody, you know, before now, but it's definitely gone past a date where I just wouldn't feel comfortable to hand this on to someone. And I've said this many times before on my channel, but with makeup I kind of ignore the expiry date, because as long as it doesn't smell bad or the textures change, I'm happy to continue using it because I've spent money on it, and you know, if formulation still seems to be fine, then that's fine. If I was a makeup artist, I would not feel comfortable using makeup that I've had for longer than a year or so in my collection on other people, but obviously this is all my own makeup for my face, but I've had these for so long that even I feel a bit like ooh at the idea of putting these on, so these are going in the bin. Moving on to Jouer Cosmetics. In my 2020 top makeup video, I spoke about the Jouer foundations, and that should give you an indication as to how I feel about them. I have two shades here, Latte and Cameo. I'm just going to swatch a little bit for you. These are actually super full coverage. Like, I don't own any foundations that have this much coverage in them. Even though the packaging would have you thinking otherwise, they are definitely a cream foundation. The shade Cameo is the lighter one here. I'm just going to show you guys this on my vlog camera, so if you hear beeping, by the way, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible. So the one on the top is the shade Latte, and that's definitely a summer tone. It's definitely on the dark side. It's one that I've kind of kept in my collection for when I'm doing people's makeup they're a little bit deeper skin tone than me, and I can mix that with something else. And then Camo is slightly too light for me, so ideally a shade right in the middle would be perfect. I don't know if that exists, but I got both of these on sale. I feel like it's not the most popular foundation because I do think it is harder to work with for sure, but these are what the shades look like. Now, the reason why they made it to my top favourite makeup of 2020 was because, like I said, this last year was when my skin really changed. If you look at all my videos from 2019, mashallah, my skin is pretty much beautiful, like in most of those videos, and I totally took that for granted. 2020 I experienced quite a bit of hormonal acne and just like regular breakouts, so I was finding that foundations like this just didn't cut it anymore. They just did not provide me with the coverage that I needed, and I felt like I put it on and you could see all the scarring and the spots, and I felt really like ugh looking at myself. And I know that's not the most positive thing to say, but I'm just being honest and totally real with you guys. That's how I felt. So then I realised and remembered that I brought this like a year or two before, and I was like, let me give those a shot, and do you know what? They actually have done a really good job. I feel like though Latte is a bit too deep, so I probably will be letting that go soon, but Cameo I can continue using, and especially, I mean, not that there's been any special occasions recently, but especially for a special occasion when you just want a really flawless face without having to faff around with concealer and, you know, doing all this correcting and stuff, and you just want beautiful flawless skin. Literally a pump is all you need, and I find that using a tiny bit of oil or a tiny bit of a sort of glowy primer like this, for example, will give you the most flawless full coverage finish you could ever ask for. So if you're looking for a foundation that's seriously full coverage, then I would definitely recommend this one. Next up we have the Mehren HD foundations. I don't know if you guys have been with me for that long. If you've been following my journey for years and years, you'll remember this from my page. These were all the rage back in the day, and do you know what? They are still really good foundations. They are cream pot foundations, and when I tell you, your skin will look photo flawless, gorgeous, incredible, amazing when you're wearing these. I'm not kidding. Like, you will look beautiful. They do end up becoming a little bit oily after some time, but they actually are made for staged makeup, so they're made for heavy lights and heat and sweat and stuff like that, and it just gives you the most beautiful finish. Like, I'm gonna try and find a picture here and you'll see a much slimmer me wearing this foundation, and I could not get over my skin myself. I was like, that's amazing. Now I have 4 shades here. They're very affordable on eBay. I don't know how much they are now, but obviously this was back in the day, but unfortunately I've used them so much that a lot of the shades have actually rubbed off. But for example, I've got here medium 1, which looks like that, and let me just swatch this, and this is more of a sort of beigey kind of medium tone, like that. Although it's coming up quite bright on camera, it's a fairly good match, although it does, as I can see, the edges are sort of drying a bit darker. What I find with these ones is I would feel a bit like a makeup artist myself, and I'd be like mixing and matching the different shades. This one is light, so these are quite good for like highlighting, but I do feel like they are getting a bit watery now, which could be a sign that it's time to shut them away. Do you know what? I'm going to be very honest. I'm just going to swatch them, and I'm going to get rid of the ones that I just never use. The one that is or was the perfect match for me is this one, and I feel like this is actually dried out a little bit, but you should be able to see the match is gorgeous. And I think this was Euroasia Fair. Do you know what? I'm struggling. Oh, there we go. Right, sometimes you just have to kind of break through that first layer. But yeah, it is dark actually. It is a bit more of a darker shade, but it's a good base shade, and then you can properly highlight, contour on top of it. But Euroasia Fair was a good shade for me. It was a bit on the dark side though, just be aware of that. But I think because it's so hard to kind of use, I'm going to get rid of it. Do you know what, guys? I definitely feel like the texture and the formulation of these has changed. So what I'm going to do is be sensible, mature, and get rid of them. They are beautiful bases. And I know at that time a lot of people were saying that, you know, if you're starting out as a makeup artist, you should definitely try these because they're very affordable, and it's a good affordable way to get every single shade you would need, because you can actually get the whole palette. On eBay, I think it's like £90, but if you think about £90 for like 8 shades that you can mix and match to make the perfect foundation shade, and it is so easy to do that with, that's actually really good value for money. But yeah, I've had these since 2017. We're now in 2021. It's time to let them go. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be ready to do that, but to be honest, let's be mature and let's be honest. I don't actually really reach for them, so what's the point of them cluttering up my space? Now, the next foundation I've got here is the NARS Sheer Glow. This is like my 3rd bottle. Absolutely love this stuff. I'm not going to talk about it too much because you guys know already. It's actually the foundation I'm wearing today. How stunning is this? It just doesn't let me down, and I actually find that as the day goes on, obviously up to a certain point, but I feel like my makeup looks better and better. Something about it that's gorgeous, and if they ever discontinued it, I would feel like my heart would be broken, honestly, because it's that good. And then the final foundation that I have that is open, and it's absolutely filthy because it leaks like crazy, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. I had this in the shade 310C, and I really like this. This is a medium to full coverage. It says it's luminous. I would say it definitely has some glow to it, but the coverage is still really up there, and I love the way my skin looks in this. Every single time I wear this, when I catch myself walking past the mirror or a card or something, I'm like, what are you wearing on your skin? It looks so good. And it's always this or Sheer Glow, but this just has, I would say, like, if I was to compare these two, I would say the ABH Luminous one has a notch more coverage, like a tiny bit more coverage, and obviously the tones are different as well, so that can make a difference to your makeup as well. Now I will say that 310 is definitely a summer shade, and I would like to get more of a slightly neutral, lighter shades for year round, because I definitely look like I've just come back from holiday, which is not always a bad thing. But yeah, I really love this and definitely would repurchase that. Okay, now moving on to the last part of this video, which is 3 foundations I've not opened yet. So sadly, Debenhams here in the UK is closing down, and they had a really good like 25% plus sale. So I was like, you know what, you never get NARS on more than 20% off. So I jumped on, and I got myself a backup of the Sheer Glow, and this is in the shade I've always used, which is medium 3 Stromboli. But then I also purchased, and I'm so excited for this, the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation in the shade Vanuatu, and this is actually medium 3.5. Now the reason why I got this was because in one of my last vlogs, I think it was the Flying Alone vlog, I was using like a little sample, and throughout the whole vlog my skin looked gorgeous. Even though I was still dealing with breakouts and I was still dealing with scarring, my skin looked beautiful. And in that vlog I actually said, like, I'm so annoyed because I'm using this sample from NARS, but I don't know what shade it is, and I can't go to any counters because it was like locked. Well, I think the shops were open, but I don't know, I couldn't find myself at a NARS counter. and I was just really frustrated because I couldn't figure out what it was, but I knew it wasn't Stromboli. The lady at the shop like months ago when I got these little samples matched me to something that wasn't Stromboli, and I was like, what? But it actually looks really good. So the moment of truth, I'm praying that Vanuatu is actually my perfect shade match for this foundation. Oh, I don't know. Oh, do you know what? The similarities between these two are mad. And I would say Vanuatu is like a hairline lighter. Like, oh, actually, you can see on camera, it is a bit lighter. I am so excited for this foundation, guys, because you know how much I love Sheer Glow. So I'm super excited, super excited for this. I think I'll do like a first impressions. I know it's 2021, I know this foundation was released a while ago, but still, I think I'll do a first impressions and a wear test of this and not wait to start using this. And then the last foundation, which I have not used yet, but I'm excited to use, is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation. This has been on an incredible sale since Black Friday, way less than it originally retails for. And when it first came out, like I said, my skin type was a type that did not need or want full coverage. Now I kind of do, so I was a bit more intrigued. And then when I saw the sale price, I was like, well, I guess it's meant to be. So I got this in the shade Amaretti, which is 310G. And I found it really difficult to figure out what my shade could be online. So I'm a bit nervous to actually try this because I've got no idea how it's going to look. But again, I think I'll do a whole video on that possibly in February now, by the time, you know, my schedule pans out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. I know loads of people hated it, but I also know some people really liked it. And I know for sure this is not going to become like an everyday foundation for me. It definitely is going to be full coverage, and it definitely is quite scented as well, which is a big criticism of it. And I know her new stick foundation is not scented, so she did take that on board, which is great. But yeah, I can't wait to try this. And that is my whole foundation collection. So let's have a count. I chucked in the bin 7 foundations, which is not bad at all. Oh, the Fenty Pro Matte foundation, I will leave my review for that down below, even though I filmed that like 2018 or actually 2017 and I didn't have confidence on camera then, let's say that. So yeah, I do really like that foundation though. It's really lovely for the summertime, but I need to get a warmer shade in that, and I need to get a slightly lighter shade in this. But I do really like both of her foundations. They're both beautiful for different reasons, and I do really appreciate both of them. But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that, you know. I'm left with sort of 2 proper primers, but the rest of my collection is looking very much tidied up. What I'm going to do is give this all a good clean. You guys don't need to see that. And then I think I'm going to film another segment of this in which I'll do my concealers and my powders together, because this has actually already become half an hour, which is definitely like my maximum preferred time. So if you enjoy this, give it a big thumbs up, and I'll be back very soon, probably on a Sunday again, to show you guys the concealers and all the powders, the loose and the pressed. Take care everyone, I'll see you very soon. Bye!